Hello, my name is Esmeralda Galan, and this is my presentation on the subsection of cross-cultural predictions and predictions relative to other caregivers. So, the strange situation study has usually been limited to North American and Western European cultures. However, researchers have also observed mothers and infants from other cultures like Israel, Japan, Shanghai, and China, Indonesia, Puerto Rico, Mexico, and 2 sites in Africa. So it hasn't really only been limited to North American and Western European cultures. It's just been more known, but there have been other cultures that have been researched. So for cross-culture, the findings were that secure classification appeared to be normative modal across cultures. However, cultural differences emerged in proportions of the attachment groups. So such differences reflect things like maternal behavior in the home, suggesting that cultural patterns of maternal sensitivity to infants reflect cross-cultural differences in the frequency of separation from their mothers. For other caregivers, such as fathers, the researchers reported that there was no difficulty in classifying attachment relationships between father and infant from the strange situation. But in most studies, not all, the modal classification category was secure. And so the findings signaled that there is a clear link between father and paternal sensitivity to the infant attachment signals. So in comparison to mothers, the father's behavior is much more closely linked to marital conditions, infant temperament, and gender. However, the conclusion and overall feeling was that there needs to be further studies as the current mechanisms by which infants arrive at qualitatively similar attachment strategies are just not enough for the moment. So as we know from past readings, Ainsworth's reliability and validity are somewhat questioned because for various reasons. But in this section, it really talked about how Ainsworth reliability and validity are well viewed and established in Western European and US cultures. As we have seen throughout our readings, his research and studies are really used in a lot of documented research, but there are also questions that remain about Ainsworth's reliability, and these are mostly based upon the psychometric properties and meaning of measures for non-Western societies. So do these studies really reflect non-Western societies in what manner? So such questions are really based on the study being mostly made above middle class, and it was really only the sample of the 23 mother and their infants. And this study was done nearly 4 decades ago, so it's not as reliable, and it doesn't really reflect our current society, our current times. So as a society and gender roles have progressed and changed, and towards study doesn't really take into consideration factors such as mothers' work patterns, the degree of fathers' involvement in the lives of their young children, or economic conditions. From overall, what we can take away from this section is that such studies are very important to understand the attachment theories and understand our children, especially our younger children, better. But such studies were done 4 decades ago, which society has really made progress since then, and so an updated study is really needed to reflect our times and how society and our gender roles and how mothers' working patterns has changed throughout time, and also the cultural the culture of the children and their economic conditions to take into consideration. And so that it can be a reliable source that as parents, caregivers, educators, we can use within our classroom and within our environment to help our children. And that was it. The end of my presentation. Thank you.